hosting you on this auspicious day. And there's so much celebration in the air. And of course, I hope we still have a ram to march on today, day two of Salah Day celebration. And as usual on the program, there's a first segment of the show where we'll review the leading stories on some select newspapers, national papers today. And we are starting off with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership. Leadership's leading story this day, Thursday, June 30th, says Sultan to political leaders shared your extravagant lifestyle for Nigeria's sake. Sultan to political leaders shared your extravagant lifestyle for Nigeria's sake. We must make necessary sacrifices for the nation, Tinubu eschew religious tribal identity. As leading story on the cover of Leadership. And of course, we have pictures of President Tinubu and other Muslim faithful as they make prayer and supplication yesterday, sorry. And Leadership also has story on despite shrinking income, Muslims celebrate Salah in style. Despite shrinking income, Muslims celebrate Salah in style. 40 Nigerians regain freedom from Libyan detention. Eid Kabir, APC, PDP all prayers for Nigeria. Federal government to stop funding professional bodies councils in 2024. Above the masthead of Leadership, we have Abbas loyalists scramble for 15 juicy committees. Abbas loyalists, that is a Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajudeen Abbas, loyalists scramble for 15 juicy committees. And insecurity, CDS, COAS celebrate troops for loyalty, sacrifice. Before we leave Leadership, let's go to the editorial page, which is our stand, that is on page 3 of Leadership newspaper. And the editorial stand says, still on the new Electricity Act. Still on the new Electricity Act. For more stories on leadership, just log on to the website www.leadership.ng. From Leadership, we move over to the next paper we have on our menu, and that is This Day newspaper. This day says Tinubu on my watch, Nigeria will know peace, stability, prosperity. On my watch, Nigeria will know peace, stability, prosperity. Urges citizens to have faith in country themselves. Prays for victory in battle against insurgency. Our government will address infrastructure deficit, says Shettima. Saraki, Lagbaja, Obi, governors order salute Muslims at Salah. Of course, we have a picture of President Tinubu, Bola Tinubu, and his aides there during prayers at the Salah ground. President Tinubu observes first Eid prayer in Lagos. Above that, we have Defense Headquarters, military remains loyal to Constitution, President. Defense Headquarters, military remains loyal to Constitution, President. Says nation security, stability are a sacred responsibility. Research shows 130 countries exploring central bank digital currencies. So it's on page 34 of this day. Federal government, above the masthead, we have federal government moves to resolve NSITF management workers dispute. Federal government moves to resolve NSITF management workers dispute. Story on page 8 of this day. And above that, we have Oronsaye report. Federal government discontinues funding of professional bodies councils. Misreactions trade directive. That's the leading stories on this day newspaper. Today, for more stories, you just log on to this day website. From this day, we move over to Nigerian Tribune. Nigerian Tribune has a headline story this morning on economy reforms may affect manufacturing household incomes experts. Economy reforms may affect manufacturing household incomes experts. Government debt to hit 90 trillion naira. Forest reform excites foreign investors. We must make sacrifice for Nigeria to prosper. Tinubu visits Ogun today. Elections, Middle Belt Group NNPP, others differ on EU report. Elections, Middle Belt Group NNPP, others differ on the EU report. Senate Minority Leader PDP Group rejects Tambuwa. Senate Minority Leader, that is the position of a Senate Minority Leader, PDP Group rejects Tambuwa. Adeleke Bashiru at war over sitting arrangement at Igrand. Adeleke Bashiru at war over sitting arrangement at Igrand. Political thugs attempted to attack governor spokesperson. So it's on page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune. CBN sets contactless cumulative daily transactions limit to 50,000 naira. CBN sends contactless cumulative daily transactions limit to 550,000 naira. And above the masthead, we have I'm not interested in any other crown except Olubadan's Ladoja. I'm not interested in any other crown except Olubadan's Ladoja. Gives reason why he was furious with Makinde before 2023 elections. Oil workers adopted in Lagos. That is page 28 of Nigerian Tribune. For more stories on Nigerian Tribune, log on to the website www.tribuneonlineng.com. From Nigerian Tribune, we move over to The Guardian, The Guardian newspaper. The Guardian says presidency PDP trade blames over bleak low-key celebrations. Salah, presidency PDP trade blames over bleak low-key celebrations. Stock market gains 5 trillion naira in 6 months. Stock market gains 5 trillion naira in 6 months. And about the leading story, we have federal government to stop funding professional bodies councils from 2026. That is one of the trending stories on the cover of each of these today's papers. Adeleke Senator clash over reserve space at Osun praying ground. Flooding, FCTA to evacuate residents of Trademore estates. Land Use Act between powerful governors and oppressed citizenry. Lobby is stranded as Tinubu relocates from Body Lawn to White House. For more stories on The Guardian, log on to the website www.guardian.ng. From The Guardian newspaper, we move over to the next paper on our menu, and that is Daily Sun. Daily Sun leads with the story Tinubu asks Nigerians to make more sacrifices. Tinubu asks Nigerians to make more sacrifices, says country will experience peace, stability, prosperity. Another story says, why I won't accept beaded crown, only authentic Olubadan crown, Ladoja. PDP APC trade blames over alleged attack on Adeleke on prayer ground. SNA spokesperson debunks claim. Structure of my government will soon start taking shape, Makinde assures. Archbishop tax NAS, that is National Assembly, advocates end of election cases before inauguration. Wants 4 Buhari ministers probed. Obi Fet Muslim says love unity will take Nigeria to desired heights. Atiku Wike fight chiefs to Senate over minority leader seat. Atiku Wike fights chiefs to Senate over minority leader seat. As Rivers governor mobilizes against Tambuwa. And we have Tinubu's London trip known for medical checkup, insists APC. And beside the masthead of Daily Sun, we have Obi of Onitsha heads committee to harmonize Igbo culture. For more stories on Daily Sun, you'll also log on to the website www.sunnynewsonline.com. From Daily Sun, we move over to the next paper on our menu, and that is Blueprint newspaper. Blueprint is leading with the story Tinubu would have lost election if Buhari removed fuel subsidy. Tinubu would have lost election if Buhari removed fuel subsidy. Garba Shehu, that is SSC to former President Muhammadu Buhari, says only a new administration with goodwill could attempt it. Tinubu renames airports after Buhari, Awolowo, Danfodio, Okadigbo orders. Federal government declares Wednesday, Thursday public holidays. UBA Access lead as banks net 96.48 billion naira from e-business in first quarter of 2023. Beneath the RAM picture, we see a picture of a RAM market where buyers and sellers are haggling over prices. Confusion as EDC backs down on planned electricity tariff hike. Confusion as EAEDC backs down on planned electricity tariff hike. NUC Executive Secretary backs down. Yes, okay. I just for so sorry. We apologize for that. This is a story. This blueprint was actually Tuesday's own. Now let's see. Let's move over to the Punch newspaper. Okay, the Punch. The Punch says Salah current pains necessary, says Tinubu. Governors preach unity. Salah current pains necessary, says Tinubu. Governors preach unity. President assures Nigerians of better days. PDP lambasts APC. Governors demand peaceful coexistence as Muslims celebrate Salah. That's the leading story on the Punch. Salah current pains necessary, says Tinubu. Governors preach unity. President assures Nigerians of better days. PDP lambasts APC. Governors demand peaceful coexistence as Muslims celebrate Salah. While pictures of President Tinubu on Eid prayer ground yesterday in Lagos and other Muslim faithful there on the cover of the Punch. Punch has other stories as well. Let's first move over above the masthead. Marketers project 700 naira per litre of petrol. Marketers project 700 naira per litre petrol. 120 billion naira USSD debt won't be cancelled, telcos tell banks. 20 billion naira USSD debt won't be cancelled, telcos tell banks. Nigeria's digital infrastructure inadequate for cashless economy, according to World Bank. Nigeria's digital infrastructure inadequate for cashless economy, according to World Bank. We move over down to the other stories on the cover, and that is below the picture story. We have Ladoja rejects Makinde's planned. Wow, I really can't see that. Well, anyway, community groans over bad road, six Abiodun's intervention. Community groans over bad road, six Abiodun intervention. Drama as Senate spokesman Adeleke supporters clash at Eid ground. For more stories on the Punch, just log on to the website www.punchng.com. That's all we can take on the Punch newspaper as we move over to the last paper we have on our menu today, and that is Vanguard. Vanguard says presidency fires back at PDP Labour Party over alleged anti-people policies. Presidency fires back at PDP Labour Party over alleged anti-people policies. PDP cautions APC federal government alleges anti-people policies. PDP cautions APC. Federal government alleges anti-people policies. Tax Nigerians on prayers over economic hardship. Tinubu's government lives in opulence while Nigerians groan. Labour Party. PDP envious of Tinubu's achievements in 3 weeks presidency. Tinubu leaking, Tinubu taking bold steps to reposition Nigeria. APC. Ide Kabi, CDS Chief of Army Staff, vowed to tackle insecurity. Illegal sale of government property. Plateau Task Force reads riots out to developers' orders. Shun ethnic religious rivalry. Tinubu urges Nigerians. Says Nigeria will experience peace, stability, prosperity. Insists Nigerians must make sacrifices but countries' prosperity. We must interrogate SDGs according to scholars. NSITF resolves dispute as PEMSEC chides union leaders. We move over to the masthead, and above the masthead we have stories on pension registration drops 10% as PENCOM go after defaulters. Pension registration drops 10% as PENCOM go after defaulters. LASU performs first non-surgical hold in heart repair. Drama as Adeleke's aides as Senate spokesman clash at a prayers. Tariff hike. NEC awaits president's approval. Plans stakeholders meeting. Crack in Benue APC as splinter group convenes meetings to zone positions. This is all we can take on Vanguard newspaper. For more stories, log on to the website www.vanguardngr.com. And this is also the last paper for review this morning on the first segment of the program. For the second segment ongoing, we already have my Thursday guest in the house. He's a political economist. He's also a public affairs analyst at Defolari Olamilekan. Until I come your way during the second segment, you just don't go away. Stay tuned.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Yes, welcome back to the second segment, sorry, all your number one breakfast show on television, Inside Nigeria. With me in the studio, actually, you can see he's a political scientist, also a public affairs analyst, Olamilekan and Defolari. Thank you so much once again. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program. I'm back at the Sala.
All right, thank you for congratulating me on Bakari Salah and
Yes.
also having me this morning.
It's a pleasure to have you on the program. Yes, we are going to be there are actually two leading stories that we want to be trying having your input. That is the issue of federal government no longer going to sponsor professional bodies in 2024. It's a story that is also making the rounds in other papers. Federal government that is on leadership. Let's have leadership. Leadership says federal government to stop funding professional bodies councils in 2024. It's a story that is also making the cover story on other papers today. So,
Actually, this is not the first time this particular news was out. I think one of the recommendations from the Rosoya
yes,
paper was how government can reduce cost of governance through its agencies, through its institutions and some other bodies that he has been sponsoring that it's expected that on their own It's supposed to be self-funding.
Yes, because they actually tag their members.
Exactly.
I'm talking about this professional
Bodies.
And
There
I'm
are many
actually
of them.
surprised that the federal government is the one actually funding professional bodies. I thought professional bodies are how do you call it?
Self-funding
Self-funding
organization, non-for-profit
organizations.
organization,
Yes,
and the rest of
since they have members and they
members.
award the professional certificates to their members through training and all whatnot. So
For me, for our listener and for our viewers, it's good. Let us give a perspective to it so that people can understand how some of these bodies become part and parcel of the federal government. For instance, most of them, modest history will tell us from 1998 how people were pressurized to take them into the National Assembly. They enacted law. Some of them were existing on their own, but some way, somehow, they found their way to the National Assembly, and there's a law that was amended, and the act was created. Before you know it, they were brought into the government. Some also exist during the military era, even from 1960. A lot of them exist before the 1960s, but somehow they found their way into the government, and government started funding them one way or the other. But the challenge has been that the more funding that government is giving to them, for people like us who value things in the faces of how much you are spending in cost, most of us have discovered that some of these organizations are just existing just to collect salaries, pay contractors, do so many bogus ceremonies, and at the end of the day, we don't see anything that are added to the economy. Because when government make policies, some of them don't come out to say this is the alternative for government. They just follow through, and maybe because of what they are enjoying from the government.
And you see that these professional bodies and councils, indirectly, they are also on the payroll of federal government because they get subventions. They used to also pay their staff and all those stuff and do other activities that is not actually impacting
on the society. There are three areas the federal government is trying to see. We're not going to be funding you. One, your overhead costs. Your salaries and allowance you are paying for your worker, and your capital project. Meanwhile, this organization tax. There are some of them that tax up to 200,000, 300,000, even some to become a member, either associate member, fellow member, or student member. They tax and they make money. But it's now opportunity for them to now strategize themselves and see how they can now expand and be self-funding. I don't see it as something that is wrong. I see it as opportunity for this organization to reorganize themselves. And there is this argument that people normally bring in other country, the government does it, in other country. But we should also look at it. In our own country, must we also copy everything and I put all the pressure on government? On one hand, we are saying government is spending too much. On the other hand, by the time we begin to pay, this is just one of it.
It's part of a cost of governance.
This is just one of it. By the time we're able to deal with this by 2024, other aspects of where government wastages in terms of our funding is going, we begin to identify them after the other. But this is just one. There are other aspects. Although where many people are calling on is the salaries.
I'm actually political. Yes, I'm actually coming to that. I just want us to, move from the professional bodies to the main headline story on leadership, where certain people said share your extravagant lifestyle. And of course, Nigerians have also been berating our president for the long convoy, share your extravagant lifestyle for Nigerians' sake, certain to political leaders. And of course, in other papers too, we also read today's papers what Tinubu said that Nigerians should be prepared to make sacrifices. That was what we heard last 8 years, just past under President Muhammad Buhari, who told Nigerians that they should just make sacrifice, that it's going to be better at the end of the day. At the end of the day, there was no light in the tunnel.
I think we should redirect the question
and now,
back to them.
The next administration is still saying the same thing. And the president was flayed over his long convoy that doing in Lagos a few days ago.
I think for that one, I think we need a legal framework. Even though we don't have a legal framework, we should have a
And there was also trending of the Senate president's convoy and all whatnot. So what are we actually doing? Is it that we are just leaving the big picture and going for other trivialities? We have governance obviously in opulence display, and no talk is being made how you are going to actually nip it in the bud, at least reduce some costs and all whatnot. Here you are just, are we leaving the big picture, the big masquerade, while we chase after shadows?
For me, we are not. We are just gradually we get there. This is just one.
And this is coming at a time that revenue mobilization even came out with increase
in their salaries.
in their salaries for political leaders.
Although they have disclaimed, they say.
Of course, they saw the public outcry. They now came back to say it's being proposed, not that it has been agreed upon. And the president also said, but the president has not actually come out to deny it, to say no, we are not going to do that. And of course, this is on the backdrop that during the Thanksgiving service, the First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, did tell Nigerians that they were worthy enough that they don't need Nigerians' money. I would have expected that the president would say, okay, no, I'm not going to take salary.
I said it particular thing on a sister platform. I said I would even prefer him not to. Even some people say, okay, don't collect. I said, no, let him collect and say, as I'm collecting, let people gather at Eagle Square and let me give it to them.
Yeah.
Because if he say he's not collecting, people will not believe that he's not collecting. So let him collect and come and share. Just like others who have also come out and say, okay, we are not interested in the fund, we just want to come and serve. I'm not saying don't collect. When you collect it, bring it to public and distribute it. Do it like that for the next 4 years that you'll be there. Every month, whatever you collect from the government, come and distribute for people. Now for the entourage, we knew what is happening right now, because I knew most times when the president is moving, I think you can count close to 25 cars. But these days,
and they are going to be fueled. And fuel now is 500. At least NFPC is selling at 537.
And the rest of it. Now, what I see recently,
per liter.
What I see recently is that there are a lot of lobbies going around with the president. People who are looking for opportunities. Anywhere it goes, you will always follow it. That's why sometimes you see the long entourage of the president. But I know gradually, by the time all things settle down, most of those loyalists who are always running after him will begin to draw back. But what I'm trying to point out is, we have said it on different platforms, that we need a framework that will show, okay, this is the numbers of cars the public holders can have as its entourage. In other developed countries, you can't see more than 3.
No, going back again, talk still on this issue of cost of governance. We also see that the Senate president is incidentally the former governor, two-time governor of Akwa Ibom State, on the highest oil producers in the country, one of the higher producing states in the country. And he is benefiting from a pension that was put in place in Akwa Ibom.
Exactly.
He was also a minister. They just ended 10 of President Buhari. And here he is as Senate president. He himself has also come out to say, doesn't mean that the president, as Senate president, is still collecting his pension.
Definitely. The Akwa Ibom State government, except the governor, stop it.
So what actually should be put in place to nip this thing involved? Because we will begin to ask, Nigeria now is indebted. They said our debt is rising to about 90 trillion.
Exactly.
Can Nigeria take more of these excesses?
We can't at this point. We can't take more than what we can chew. That is just number one. And for all those excesses that ex-government,
why is it that we have not had leaders that are strong enough, bold enough to say no, enough of it? Although Buhari told us during this campaign, even when at Chatham has that where Nigerian has 6 presidential jets or how many, that he was not going to, that is not better than the average Nigerian, that is going to fly public airplane and even board the economy. By the end of the day, we even saw how the president even bought more presidential jets to add place to his fleet.
Exactly.
And he did none of that. So what is actually happening that Nigerians have not really have the willpower to say enough of these profligate?
The issue is this, once you find yourself in government, especially when you're appointed, there are array of laws that will show you that help you as someone that has been appointed. They will tell you what your office demands and what your office will take and what your personality will also incur in that office. And sometimes someone may be carried away that is it all that will be benefiting? Is it all that will be enjoying?
So these are for me.
For me, instead of the person to say, okay, is there any way we can trim this down? Even if that person wants to trim it down, the people working in that circle will not because they are benefiting from it.
You are so right, because we heard of this retired, this late Badi from that the money that was budgeted for his office, it was even the essay that told him that no, you are supposed to do this for you. No, it just in collaboration with what you said.
So in most times,
it's for you.
Exactly.
Decide what you want to do.
It. So and they call it miscellaneous money. Like I remember when I was heading a particular organization, head of department, and they would tell me this is for me in my fridge. There are drinks, there are food. Even if I tell them that I'm not interested,
Mm.
the people that normally go for procurement of that thing will make sure that they buy it and come and
And
put
come
it
and
there.
take it. So
And
that
when they get so cold, so blocked, they'll say, "Oh, God, this thing is you are not taking that." I say,
they'll not take
you are
it.
taking it. You understand? That's what really happened in government circle. But what I'm trying to point out, if we can have a law that will streamline some of these things, it's in the news. The speaker of the house appointed 33
Yes,
aides,
we discuss.
2 deputy chief of
But
deputy
you know,
chief
he
of
couldn't
staff.
have done what was not in order. Obviously, maybe that's what the speaker has been doing before.
No. The one that was there didn't appoint up to that number.
Okay, he didn't appoint up to that number.
Gbajabiamila didn't
Because
even
that's
have to.
exactly
He didn't even have up to
we're
10
discussing.
legislative aides. But what this one is bringing on board, you know the way he came into the speakership position, and you know the kind of support group. And most of these legislative aides are people who are one way or the other support group or one group or the other.
And
So
because he appointed
not
going to region, I saw maybe political this northeast, southeast, southwest,
West.
all of that.
And he
all
claimed
the
that
6 geopolitical zones.
that they are going to help him to strengthen his political affair and political dialogue across the city.
Because when the matter came up for discussion, many people were of the opinion that maybe he's doing what he meant on ground.
No. Bagabi, I mean, throughout these 4 years, I didn't have year or see where he had that numbers of 8. In National Assembly, you are entitled to 4. I think the speaker and the Senate are entitled to about 10. And some of them don't even get up to that number because they cohort staffs of National Assembly to be part of it. And most of them also use consultants to work. Once you are out of that number, you will be the one funding them, you will be the one paying for them, because that's what the law says in that regard. So we want such law to also be extended to other part of.
And so what happens now with these 32, I mean 33
definitely from the miscellaneous funding that will take care of his office. That's why we'll be dipping his hand into to settle them. And each of these aides will not earn no less than 250 to 200,000 monthly.
You see the cost of governance we talk about.
Exactly. And it will go there. And if he doesn't get the money, he will find one way or the other to get the money and settle them on monthly basis or on weekly basis. And he will buy them mobility because they're going to be working in each of his zone. And he also appoint about 3 special assistants. And this same guy will still make use of consultant. Now the person that is following my deputy speaker will also do the same thing. If care is not in it. In the Senate, for instance, the Senate president has only appointed about 4 people. We don't know what he's going to do. Maybe the deputy Senate president will also do the same thing. But the previous one, we didn't hear them having this large number. Or maybe they may have them, but it was not in public
domain. Because yes, that was when the matter came up for discussion. That's what some people said, that maybe the previous ones could have had them anyway.
And again, but the key issue for me is that can we have a constitutional amendment that can strengthen this and reduce?
But you forget that the people that are also going to do the constitutional amendment are those that are benefiting from it. So they are also going to shoot it down.
No, definitely.
Is there any way you can go around it without their input? No.
At the state level, for instance, some state government came in and abolished the pensions of former governors. When those ones that could not abolish it, reduce the content of what those governors should be collecting. Lagos, for example, which I follow very well, what they initially put in place in 2011, they reduced it. Okay. And it has now been reduced, not like what was there before. Now, on the other hand, even though there are going to be people that are already benefiting, I think with the cry of Nigerians now, they can look at it and say, even though we are having a shrink in revenue, can we reduce this?
Considering our monumental debt
exactly.
90
trillion projected. Because by the time the current loans that are being thrown at the president right now, if we eventually collect it, although the DMO, the debt management officer, have warned that we should not get to that 100 or 100 plus. Even this 90, they were still looking for a way to bring it down. And when we bring it down, it's more better for us. Although we know that this entire is inclusive the states, yes. And the state own is even more. Even the new loans proposal that is going up and down, majority of them are going to the state. The World Bank electrification loan of 750 million is for the state. The 500 million for digital infrastructure and network is also for the state. So we must understand that all this we are talking about is this subject that is something that goes to the subnational, but the state government must think of how they can reinvent their internal revenue network. That is just the best way to go, instead of going for loan all the time.
Okay. Now, just before we go, there's another salient, there's another trendy story President Muhammadu Buhari, the former, just the immediate past president, had many people read it that subtle warn that it should not be called upon for any coup.
Hmm.
But considering the activities of some of his ministers,
Mhm.
how do you think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should let him be?
I think in the past, what has happened to people that we have said they have done this, they have done President Obasanjo, today nobody called him for any probe after the 16
No,
billion US
we are
dollar.
talking about his
No, no,
ministers.
no,
then.
no. I'm
Yes.
coming. I'm just going to
Yes.
into retrospect.
Yes.
Obasanjo was everybody saw Obasanjo 16 billion US dollar for power. Nobody see the light of the day. We didn't see the money with it. So they should call Obasanjo. Today nobody call Obasanjo. Even Jonathan, although yeah, that late, not nobody called upon Jonathan. Also, people say, okay, all his ministers, whatever they should call him, he never was, never called.
But his ministers like deserve
I'm coming. I'm just trying to lay a precedent.
Yes.
Now, during the military era, today nobody has called IBB to come and answer any question. Abdulsalam, nobody has called him. Now, if all these exactly with all the indictments,
former CS
and the rest of them, if all these former head of state and former president were not called, me, I won't see anybody that will call us Buhari. But I know those ministers will pay for it. Because even himself have said it when he was going that nobody should come and knock on my door because I have no answer. And he said it literally that people can understand. We asked you to come and serve, but you ended up serving yourself. So go and answer your query. And that's what will happen. Those guys, by the time they start picking them one after the other, nobody will call Buhari to come and
perhaps I mused to myself, perhaps these his ministers, who somehow many of them were related to him, obviously felt that it's President Buhari, nobody can touch him.
Exactly.
Perhaps that was what gave them that zeal or whatever to do what they wanted to do.
Exactly. If you remember during Buhari time when ministers that worked for Jonathan were also being called out, Jonathan walked to the villa and went and greeted Buhari and they talked. And I believe that those period was the period that the man, they talk one-on-one and they released information that this is what he did. Buhari too may also be called to the villa and he will tell Tinubu one or two things about a particular project, but not for EFCC or not for ICPC or not for any police to start running after him. From there, we will now understand that okay, this is what they are going to do. But for him to say okay, ICPC or AFC will go and pick Buhari, because if previous president and head of state were not shamefully addressed that way, it do not happen. But we cannot.
But we are looking at his ministers.
So the ministers now, definitely most of them, anywhere they are now, they will be shivering. Anywhere they are now.
Group in the paper, and one of the papers today said they called on, for example, Tinubu to query some four of his ministers.
There are more than four. From Minister of Finance, humanitarian, aviation, works and housing.
Yes, works and housing.
Yes, even though the guy is very close to me, I saw him on the ED ground yesterday. Was praying with the man. That is Fashola. They will still call him. Then Malami. Those ones are the four are the major. But the aviation is there.
Yes,
then
humanitarian
is there. They will not also forget Minister of Labour. They also call him.
Okay.
They also call him.
People know that that there's no much budget for them.
The issue is that there are some agencies, there are some ministries that we consider not to be juicy. But most of them, their capital projects that they started since 2015, some of them didn't finish. Yes. And money was paid to contractors. So how come? That's why I said like Minister of Labour now. There are issues with that ministry that they were in charge of what they call it, National Directorate for Employment. They were carrying out the same similar project that humanitarian ministry was carrying out, giving people money, empowering people, just like what Smithdown too was doing. Smithdown is under Ministry of Trade and Investment. So they must be able to give account. You hear we train 30 people and we spend 300 million. Yes. We train 100 people. And
that's what the humanitarian said. They train people on IT. I think it was a point newspaper that carried that a few months ago, or was it last year, that they trained some IT just few billions of naira.
It got across agencies and ministries.
And humanitarian said they were providing school feeding for children when it was a lockdown. COVID lockdown.
Seriously. So those are the ministries and agencies that we know that their former head will be called upon. And
I also agree with you on works and housing too, because a few days ago it was alleged that it was the story, not alleged. There was report that about 34 roads, federal roads, were not done.
Not just that,
Let's
no.
not
FEMA has been dealing with shady activities. Today they will fix a portion that they say for maintenance. Come after two, 3 weeks, you see that same place has been washed away. The particular one
is an estate I stayed in Abuja.
okay, that one is
You know, it's also managed by FEMA.
There's a this express Abuja Kefi Road. Go and check the number of maintenance that FEMA did between December and April. The same road now, they have all been washed out. They are now back to the same state they were when before FEMA came and said they are carrying out maintenance. And billions of naira will be given to them. So that's why I said Minister of Works and they need to call them.
Can Nigeria continue doing the way things it's been doing and expect different results?
We don't. The thing is that for me, and I've always said it on this platform, on that platform, when we appoint people, we don't have people who have that sincerity of heart who want to serve. They are just even though
they are there. There are few. We have a JAM, JAM registrar.
But you
we even have NDLEA, Marwa.
We can few of them, I mean. Yes. But those other ones that we know they are not, they are saying they are doing, but they are not doing. JAM and NDLEA, they may still have their own problems too, especially when it comes to funding. Because anybody that is appointed into government, there are some people that will end up feeding, servicing throughout his period in that position, because they will claim that they are the nominating. They will fight over contract splitting. They will fight over recruitment issues. They will fight over mundane things. NSITF that is having issues that we are talking about. It's as a result of the board member who kick against the person that is in charge, and the board member were kicked out. They appoint an acting person. The acting person came. The board member, the board, the remaining part of the board are still fighting against him. That's why they use the labor union to be fighting against the management. Wow. As a result of what? Recruitment. The money that is coming into that organization, and it cut across agencies of government that this is what happened. Board member, management, and staff will always be fighting, quarreling over things.
They quarrel in cases where they are not in
unison to do things, to share the things. But when there is a problem of sharing formula, they will come against themselves and begin to hear in public. And they also sponsor several media propaganda against themselves. That's why you see different stories, different headlines, sensational one, framing one that you will see a particular media will come out and say management have stolen, like the one that happened in NDDC, that the management is claiming that the board is claiming that the management went and used 300 million to organize conference in Lagos because they didn't carry the board along. You understand?
Yes.
You can see what. So these are the things that normally.
There was infighting between the front board led by Loretta Olochi and the ND.
So that is what normally happens across government agencies, ministries, and institutions. Not only those ones, including universities. VC will be quarreling with management and the other board member over issues that boil down to just money, contract, recruitment, and these are the things. Because they have people to service.
But it's board to board appointment. It's not also contributing to cost of governance that we are speaking about.
It is. We have said that government should look at the way that it can. So, okay,
no, there's a situation whereby board chairman. Then I actually didn't know. I just started covering a bit then, and an agency, particular agency on that head that I was covering, did say that they are spending so much on the chairman of the board. I think it's primary health care. They will give him anytime he comes to talk, they even give him a house. You say he wants to travel, he wants to attend the events like them, and they give him. He was practically coming all the time every week to the agency to do what?
And when it comes to recruitment, you will ask his law. And the reason is because, and they are not all these things are not in the law, in the law that established that agency. But because most of the board members are political party stewards who come as a means whereby they want to settle them. Like now, according to the report we have heard, there are about 2,600 vacancies as a result of this decision of board. Don't be surprised that all of them will be accommodated as people who supported the APC government one way or the other. And what do they used to do? They want to come and recover and recoup whatever they have spent, including those ones that didn't even spend a dime in the political campaign of the president. They will say they want to come and recover. And how do they recover? Contracts. If they don't have company, they will use their friend company. Recruitment, they will bring their people. They can sell their slot, or they will give it to their associate or their family member. When it comes to other things that have to do with maybe conferences, workshops, they want to participate, retreat, they want to be there. And these are the means where people want to say, okay, board member, they also have to eat. And that's why you see that they will say that when whatever you do in politics, you can repeat positively, you can repeat negatively. That's why you say people cry. Especially in 2015 when PDP lost out, you can hear the cry of some of the members that we have lost, food have been taken away from our mouth.
mouth.
And that's what it means. So another means whereby they eat and drink is to becoming board member, either as chairman or director or member. And that's how they make money. And so what do you expect? They must fight to get it.
Like I've said it twice. Can there be ever end to this profligacy in government?
We can do it. We just need that law that will ensure that we strike out some of the things. I don't know whether it was last week we discussed about this body that said there are some agencies that they don't need board. Just appoint management for them and let them exist. And this situation whereby any act that is establishing them, the act must say they must have board member or council that will be advising them. What advice are they giving them? They end up corrupting their agencies in the name of advice. They are the one that will be bringing some ideas or consultants to come and be doing one or two things that will not be too down well to ensure that that organization have a robust finance for their concrete project. Meanwhile, they want to do one or two things in concrete activities. Because of board activities, they will not be able to put money in. And that's where we have such issues across board. But we just hope that this government can look at how to ameliorate some of these challenges. Or else, the cost of governance that we're talking about, it will keep skyrocketing and it will keep getting increased on daily basis until we correct it as expected.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, as you've heard it from our political scientist and a public affairs analyst, guest for today, Ade Folari Olamilekon. Thank you so much for your incisive discussion this
Thanks
morning. It was actually robust. It was a robust one. Obviously, we've heard it all. But today, on today's Inside Nigeria, look forward to having you same time, same station on the same frequency. I'm Winifred Ugabo. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.